Grace and peace, I hope everybody is feeling blessed today. All right, so this video is not a podcast video, not a spiritual guidance video. This is more or less a video from divinity. Now, 2 nights ago, I had a dream, and based on this dream, I had to really sit in stillness and allow this dream to kind of marinate a bit, because I needed God to give me direction on what He wanted me to do with this dream, what it meant, and where it was going to go. Now that I'm set on what I needed to display, I'm here to bring this to you. So I am going to tell you this message. I guess, what do? Trigger warning type situation. This message might be a slight trigger warning to those who are very sensitive to information, but I am going to be honest with you. This is information that everyone who is living on this planet needs to know now. So trigger warning or not, you do need to know this. So sit in some stillness, settle your energy, calm your nervous system. Come back to this video because this is an update for you and everyone else. Let's get into this message. Now, I may need to do a part 2 to this because it may be a little long, but I'm going to try to get as much into this as possible. 2 nights ago, I had a dream where I was not in the States. I believe I was in France, and I was with my little one. In this dream, we were coming out of an ice cream shop that was localized on a cul-de-sac, but it was like a selling district, or I want to say a social nightlife type of district. So people go there to just walk around. Couples go there for a romantic outing. If you just wanted to settle into your energy for the evening, this is where you would kind of go. Now, based on the way that this area was set up, they closed early compared to the States. So we were coming out of this ice cream shop. It had to be maybe a couple of hours after sunset. And all the shops were closing or closed. We were the last one in this ice cream shop. And like I said, it was localized on a cul-de-sac. So it is that U shape. And there was nothing but shops and restaurants and everything on this cul-de-sac. And in between it was like a row of a tree line, really tall trees, but they were dense. You could not hop through this tree line. You would have to go around in order to be on the right side or the left side. When you walk down, you now can enter where the tree line is, and it becomes a park. Very beautiful. We're walking out of the ice cream shop. They close behind us, turn off the lights. And as we walk a couple of feet, I happen to look over to my right. And I see a woman walking in our direction, but she's maybe about 20 feet from me and my daughter. And what caught my eye was her behaviors. She was moving very erratic. As not with a direction, but it was very aggressive. And I noticed that behavior immediately. It just raised a red flag for me. I continued to watch for a bit, and I noticed that she started to have like a cloud of black smoke coming off of her. It reminded me of soot, like that kind of like coal type of smoke, but it was just like radiating off her, and the movements was causing it to flare up. She panned over to another woman who was maybe about 3 feet from her, because there were a whole bunch of people between where she was and the 20 feet between us. She looks at a woman who's placing a camera in her bag. She's bent over. That woman looks up and makes eye contact with her. I noticed that an orange smoke starts coming off of the woman with the camera, and then it turns red. She quickly is zipping up her bag. She goes to turn around to walk or quickly just go in the opposite direction of this woman. And as she does, the other woman with the black soot on her grabs her by her hair and pulls out a weapon from her bag, her satchel. It looked like a very large kitchen knife. And she proceeds to assault this woman. That other woman begins to scream. It alerts everyone within close proximity. They see what's going on, and they start to run in the direction I'm in. Now, I've noticed that the people who see this woman, and I'm talking there's parents grabbing their children, picking up young children, elderly people, everyone type, like that are standing here, young teenagers, all of them. And they started to have that orange smoke coming off of them, and then it turned red as they're running in alarm. I turn and I look at my little one, and I notice she's starting to have this orange cloud. She's tucked behind me. I grab her by her wrists, and we start to run in the direction. We're already at the tip of the cul-de-sac right before it curves. We start running around the side of the cul-de-sac. I realize that she's having a freeze reaction to this situation. As we turn the corner, I notice there's a seating area where all the seats have been tucked away, put away for the evening. I tell my little one, I need you to crawl under the seats. I need you to sit down. Do you remember your breath work? Start breathing, close your eyes, and calm yourself. She does exactly what I say. And when she does that, I stand in front of her. I cannot fit anyway, but I wasn't going to. I stand in front of her as the people are running past me. The woman with the black soot makes eye contact with me and proceeds to continue to chase the people who are running away, as if she could not see me. I look at the direction she's running in, and I see that an elderly couple has kind of collapsed on the floor. The gentleman is trying to get his wife to stand up. She looks like she's injured. She's targeting this couple and running toward them very quickly. My first instinct was to scream, stop, as loudly as I could, and when I did, it echoed. As if I wasn't outside, as if I was in a room that was empty, it echoed. The woman with the black soot turns around with the knife in her hand, and she stops immediately and drops to her knees and drops this knife. I notice she gets up, and when she gets up, she's completely different. One, the soot is starting to dissipate off of her, and she looks confused, very confused, as if she has no idea where she is. She's looking around, trying to still understand what's happening. She sees these people running. She does not know what's going on. She looks at her hands, and she sees that there is blood on her hands. She starts, I guess, to get alarmed. I see that she's starting to have this orange smoke coming off of her. She just turns and starts just running, genuinely running. And I just wake up from there. Now, this dream was very alarming because it was very intense, number one. I could feel what was going on. But the biggest thing for me was that I vividly could remember everything about this dream as if I was physically in the presence of this situation. And I had to sit in stillness for a bit so I could make sure that I can deliver this message, because I knew it was a channeled message and that there was something in this that God was trying to convey to us. As I sat in stillness, the first thing God brought to my memory was another dream that I had. Now, this dream I had was back in February. In February, it was very intense. We had a 6-planet planetary alignment. And it was visible between, I want to say, the 20th of February and the 5th of March. And during that time, we also hit 2 portals. And then I believe Mercury went into retrograde on, I think, the 26th. Now, for me, it was big because that's my birthday time. But it was even more intense for me because I had a dream at that point of a huge portal opening up. And it was right in the center of the planet. It was huge. It looked like it went all the way past the clouds, and it was just big. It was bigger than states. I think it was bigger than the U.S. itself, but it went straight across the U.S. and across the planet. And in this dream I seen there were black entities coming in from this portal. Nothing was going inside of it. They were coming in, like onto the planet through this portal. Pan to a day later, I was in a convenience store. And in this convenience store, there was a very long line. It was excessively long. I needed one item, so I was actually walking through to see if they had this one item I was looking for. As I was passing an aisle, I noticed a woman reaching for a top shelf. She was looking to grab something specific. And she was complaining. I could overhear her complaint that they didn't have what they needed to have or what they were supposed to have. And she was very agitated behind this. And her agitation started to grow very quickly. I went to walk past the aisle she was in, and I noticed something approaching her. It was a dark figure, so it made me stop and just look back down the aisle. And as soon as I did, it was one of those entities that I saw coming through that portal, placing their hands on her shoulder. And as soon as it made contact with her, the entity disappeared. So I continued to watch for a second. This woman began to get angry, infuriated even. And as she did, her whole reaction changed. It went from agitation for not getting what she wanted to rage. She was screaming for employees. The employees approached and was, "How can I help you?" Very pleasant. And she proceeded to just go off about the fact that she could not find what she needed. It escalated to the point that this woman started grabbing glass candles and bottles off of the shelf, throwing and smashing these bottles in real time. So this is not a dream. I'm literally in this store and I'm watching this woman's reaction. And luckily the police were right outside and they come inside. They're telling all of the people who are going to be paying that they need to leave so that they could calm this woman. And that was my first interaction with the entities I seen coming through. So I knew this was going to come back. I wasn't quite sure how this was going to come, if it was just at that time. But after sitting with the interpretation with God in stillness, showing me this dream, and then allowing me to sit in it, he finally gave me the message. We are at a very important time. Very important time. The demonic presences that have been here on this planet, one, have evolved. They're almost what you would want to consider hybrids. They're not even under the jurisdiction of the devil himself. They are completely operating under complete different ruling. They do what they want. They're separate too. Now, I'm not sure if they came from a completely different dimension or what, or if even mankind were the reason why this portal was opened up. But this is what has happened. Now, where normal entities need a license in order to take over a human presence, they need you to be in agreement with it so it can reside within you. These new hybrids do not need license. All they need is for you to be unhealed enough for them to be able to hop in and take you for a ride like a vehicle. We are going to see a huge uptick in people being arrested for behaviors that will be deemed wild, malicious behaviors, wild interactions that don't even make sense. And if you were to actually sit some of these people down and give them a lie detector test and ask them about the behavior that they exhibited, they would pass a lie detector test if they said that they have no idea what was going on, because they won't. They will be dormant while their body is being utilized. This is where God has been leading us for a while. This whole uptick you've seen in spirituality and people saying, heal, 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 grow, grow, grow. It's time. It's enlighten yourself. Get knowledgeable of who you are. It's been leading for us to understand that we are not going to be able to have control if you don't heal. The reason why that woman with the black soot could not see me is, one, because I had no fear, because I am healed. And two, because she was completely taken over by someone else, something else, actually. And everyone is subject to this situation if you don't heal. If you are someone who's still dabbling in lust, still dabbling in maliciousness, you're abating in lies, all of these things. You can be utilized by any of these entities. They only need you to have one door open. So if lust is your door, if greed is your door, they can seep in and they can utilize you however. God needs you to heal in order to protect yourself. Now, there are tools that you can arm yourself with while you're on the journey to healing. 3 a.m. prayer, making sure you weaponize yourself with the word. There are things that you can do. But mainly, you need to do your shadow work. You need to understand what your gateways are. If you are somebody who's been through assaults in life, say assaults, whatever you've been through, understand that that is a sore spot for you. If you have triggers, you feel insecure around certain people, that you need to heal it all of it. Because I can't tell you which gateways can be used. I can only tell you what shadow work calls for you to do. We have to get this on point, because not only are you a danger to yourself when you don't, you're a danger to everyone around you. Because as I said, that woman in the store, yes, she now had an entity riding in her body, but that employee was subject to her rage. Those officers were subject to her rage. Anyone who was standing in close proximity was subject to her rage. If you are around small children and you don't heal and you are being utilized by one of these entities, they are subject to whatever violent behavior you start to exhibit while under the possession of these demons, these entities. Now, I wasn't quite sure how this video was going to come out, but I really just had to call for the Lord to lead it however the Lord saw fit. So whatever you're getting is how it's supposed to come. I'm not going to edit it. I'm not going to take some words out. I'm not even going to an explanation that's even deeper than what I already have. If you know, you know. Now, I will say, the Lord has called for people to wake up sooner than others so that they can learn how to arm themselves, so that now that we're in this time, they can help people get on point. But many of us, of you, look at those as threats to the way you live now. Instead of wanting to heal, and you see all these spiritual people getting on point, you more or less think that they're restricting their lives, but really they're saving their lives. It's time for you to save yours. There are many spiritual teachers here, many spiritual teachers. I am definitely one of them. The point is to find a spot and call it home while you go through your healing process, and to call for everyone around you to do so. If someone refuses to heal around you, you need to move away from them. It just is what it is, because they are now what cannot be used by these entities. I'm going to continue to pray for each and every one of you, because I pray for all of y'all every single day. Anyone who watches my videos, you've been prayed for. Little do you know. And I pray that this message reaches as many who need to hear it as possible. But my job is to be obedient and put the message out. These messages that you're seeing from these spiritualists, they ain't for nothing. So I'm going to leave this right here. I pray you start taking yourself seriously and your walk seriously. Love and light and peace.